like Ghana's really tiny, but it's right there, also a part of West Africa. They are called spider stories. When you know the kind of stories people tell, you get some idea of what kind of people they are. You will notice in these stories that West Africans are very particular about three things: cleanliness, hospitality, and good manners. Everyone bathes at least once every day, which I hope we all do as well, and sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. A stranger must be made welcome and food must be shared. But as in all countries, not everyone does as he's supposed to. West Africans notice this too, and that is why they made the character of Spider. Spider is like some people. He's lazy and very, very greedy. He loves to play. He hates to work. He's full of tricks, and he's often naughty. But he is funny and lovable too. So, as all stories begin, it says, I am the storyteller, and here is my story. All right, we're going to start with this story called Why Spiders Live in the Ceiling.
Why spiders live in the ceiling. Okay. Once upon a time, Osibo, that is the name of leopard, owned a very special kind of sheep. It was a magic sheep. It was magic because if you lifted it in your arms and held it over a cooking pot, it would fill the pot with fufu. That is the name of the dumplings that go in an African stew. Now, in Ashanti, where Spider lived, everyone loved to eat fufu. And Spider loved it most of all. Spider loved to eat everything, but he was especially fond of fufu. And so, when he heard about the magic sheep who could fill a pot with fufu, Spider knitted his brows. I must get that sheep for myself, he said.
This is how it happened that one evening Spider went to visit Osibo the leopard. Osibo received him most politely. He gave Spider some dinner, and the two of them sat talking until the great round moon came up. At last, it was so late that Osibo invited Spider to stay the whole night in his house, and that was just what Spider wanted. Don't bother to prepare a special bed for me, said Spider pleasantly. I will just sleep in the kitchen. He knew the magic sheep always slept in the kitchen. Nonsense, replied Osibo. I cannot be so rude as to put a guest in the kitchen. Besides, you would have to sleep with my sheep, for she always sleeps in the kitchen. Oh, that's all right, answered Spider. I'm used to sleeping with sheep, and I really would not mind it at all. Again, Leopard refused, but Spider insisted. I'm used to sleeping with sheep, I tell you.
In fact, I always sleep with sheep. It's my habit, he cried. Osibo looked hard at Spider. He was not nearly so stupid as Spider thought he was. Very well, Osibo said quietly. You may sleep in the kitchen. He laid out a sleeping mat for Spider near the fire and gave Spider a blanket to cover himself. The sheep lay asleep in a corner. This is most comfortable, said Spider as he lay down. He closed his eyes tightly and pretended to go to sleep. As soon as Osibo left the room, Spider crept with his bed into the corner next to the magic sheep. Spider tried hard to stay awake, but he could not keep his eyes open. Was it the warm fire, or was it the big dinner Spider had eaten? No one knows, but soon Spider was sound asleep. Now all this time Osibo was watching. The moment Spider fell asleep, he went into the kitchen. His padded feet made no sound. He lifted the magic sheep and carried it out of the room.
In its place, he put his son, Little Leopard, next to the bed of Spider, and then Osibo quietly blew out the lantern. Just before daybreak, Spider woke up. He reached out to touch the sheep. Sure enough, he felt the furry body of an animal. Quickly, he stuffed it into a large bag he had hidden under his pillow, and then he ran home with the bag hanging over his shoulder. Spider was delighted himself. When he reached his house, Spider called his wife. Aso and his son Kuma. He told them about the wonderful sheep in the bag, for they loved Fufu as much as he did. Open the bag, they cried. So Spider opened the bag to show them. What a surprise! Instead of a magic sheep, they saw the great green eyes of a leopard. His teeth were long and sharp, and his claws stuck out like knives. Spider and his family were so frightened, they dug a tunnel right then and there and ran into it. Little leopard picked up some magic stones. He threw them at the Spider family and hit and hit their feet as they ran. Spider and Aso and Kuma cried out. Little leopard ran after them through the tunnel. He was getting closer and closer.
At last, the three spiders could run no farther. They burst from the tunnel and climbed high up into the ceiling. They liked it there. They felt warm and safe, and so they decided to stay. If you look carefully, you may find them there now. And that is the story of how spiders came to the ceiling.
So this is an example of stories that were passed down over generation after generation, or through the generations, and they were passed down by storytellers. Who knows the name for storytellers? These West African storytellers. Anybody? Okay. It's called a griot. Can you say griot?
Griot.
Those are West African stories. And as we travel through West Africa, as we travel through Mali, you all will be griots. You will tell your story, and your teachers will explain that more and more as we learn about Mali, okay?
Maybe another.
All right, yay.
Maybe not. Oh, you know what? We will share this book through the third grade classroom, so we will share some more books. And I bet we can get Miss Hyman to get us some more Ashanti tales about. Has anybody ever heard of the Ashanti the spider? There's lots of tales about Ashanti the spider, and they all originate in Africa. And there's also a cartoon called Tinga Tinga Tales. Has anybody ever seen Tinga Tinga Tales? Colt and Piper love it, and that tells a lot of stories from Africa. When they couldn't understand why something happened, why the moon was rising, or why the leopard has spots, or why the monkey swings from trees, or why the hippo doesn't have hair, they would make up stories about it, and they would use that as an explanation. Yes, ma'am. All right, Miss Bagley's class may quietly stand up.
Let's practice. I want to be in here. Hey, can I borrow this drum? Oh, did you? Oh, I saw. Oh, by the way, my mom is sending African clothes, so we